Hi guys. So yesterday I did a Zoom spirit flow with several of lovely ladies from across the globe, and I promised I would record it, and I did record it. But my recording, I made a little bit of a mistake, and I kind of recorded a gallery view instead of the speaker view. So that means that I'm just kind of quite a small figure in the corner somewhere. So I think it's better if I'll kind of redo the lesson, more or less the way we did it yesterday, but it's only me today. But anyhow, hopefully as a recording, it will be that much better. So yeah, so if you just come to sit on your mat on some height. So I have a blanket here that I folded up. I suggest you maybe make a little either blankets or stack of towels, nothing too soft. You don't want to sink in, but you do want some support for your back as we start to practice the breathing. And especially if you do have a little bit of a bad back, then, or if your lower back's a little weak, it's better to sit up on a little bit of height rather than pressing down too much into the floor. So, and also, I'll just make my way back here. I also have a couple of blocks. These are yoga blocks. Honestly, if you're a little tight in your back body at all, I suggest you get yourself a couple of yoga blocks, or at least something that you can put your hands on to bring the floor a little closer to you in our hamstring stretches rather than rounding the back. Okay, so let's get straight down to it. Sit up on your support, cross your legs as best you can. Some people can do kind of shin cross, some prefer ankle, some heel to heel. Just try and do as best you can, and then sit up nice and tall. So imagine you're being pulled up by a rope from the crown of your head, and then the sit bones are kind of rooting down into your support. And then we'll just take a moment to settle in before we move into some pranayama, which is the breathing practice. So to settle in, the best way to do that is just to rest your hands down on your legs, close your eyes gently, take a deep breath in through the nose. So really breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, and then open the mouth, exhale everything out with a sigh. And just let the whole body soften and yield. And just do that one more time. Inhale, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Open your mouth, exhale with a sigh. Good. And then just keeping your mouth lightly closed. Breathe in and out through the nose. So unless your nose is blocked, but otherwise, see if you can just breathe in and out through the nose. And with your eyes closed, take a moment to go inwards and just observe your breath. So we're learning to take our sort of reduce the senses, if you like, reduce the visual senses, reduce everything, and just start to go inwards, connect to the breath, which is normally done non-consciously or unconsciously, and start to notice the rhythm of life moving through your body. And you may start to kind of be able to feel the breath moving through your nostrils. You may start to recognize there's a natural movement to your body as you inhale. There's this natural lift and opening to receive the breath. And there's a natural softening and yielding as you exhale the breath out. Okay, and then just open your eyes, and we'll move into a little bit of breathing tuition, if you like. So take your hands to your belly, and just sort of where your thumb is about the place of the navel, but a little bit further apart. Maybe your middle fingers can touch. And then as you inhale, press your belly into your hands. So you're really expanding the belly into your hands. And as you exhale, draw the belly back towards your back body. So as you inhale and press into your hands, you'll feel your hands sort of move apart as you get a big fat belly. And as you exhale, draw the belly back in. And again, inhale. This is called abdominal breathing, making room for the diaphragm. And exhale, draw the belly back in. Okay, then we're just going to move the hands up to around the sides of the ribs. So your rib cage is obviously protecting the lungs and the heart. So we want to be able to expand the rib cage as the lungs expand to give more room for the lungs. So everything we're doing is to give room for the lungs to expand. So as you keep the bridges of your hands around the sides of the ribs, maybe the fingers touch as they come into the midline, maybe not. And then as you inhale, just visualize, it's not that easy, especially when you're new, just visualize extending the ribs apart, away from each other. So the hands again move away from each other. And as you exhale, allow the ribs to soften in. So don't worry about the belly at the moment. Just concentrate on expanding the ribs as you inhale, widening the rib cage. As you exhale, allow the ribs to soften back towards center as the lungs deflate. And one last time, inhale, give room for the lungs, expand the ribs away from the midline. And as you exhale, allow them to soften in. Okay, now there's just one more part to the breath, and that is going to be the upper chest. So you can just let your fingers rest on your collarbone. So your collarbone is moving, is that goes from the clavicle notch right the way out across the upper chest. So rest your fingers on that. And as you inhale now, visualize breathing into the upper chest and widening the collarbone. So you'll feel your shoulder tips move back as your upper chest widens. And as you exhale, there's a narrowing or moving in towards center. You're not hunching forward, just softening in. And as you inhale again, feel the collarbone widen, the upper chest gets really wide and open. As you exhale, allow the collarbone to soften in. And last time, inhale into your upper chest, widen across the upper chest, and exhale, soften in. Okay, take your hands down, lean back a little, stretch your legs, maybe give them a bit of a shake. Now, you know why we're sitting on a bit of height, because if you're sitting on the floor, you might find that everything's starting to ache a little bit now. And then cross the legs the other way. This may feel a little bit weird, but try and cross the legs the other way. Sit up nice and tall. Okay, now we're going to put the three parts of the breath together, the belly, the ribs, and the upper chest as on the inhale. And we're going to exhale from the upper chest through the ribs to the belly. And I will kind of talk you through this. You just do the best you can. You can have your eyes open or closed. It's up to you. But remember, there's no getting this wrong. This is all just practicing, becoming aware, building that muscle of awareness. Okay, so exhale all the breath out now. And then you don't need to use your hands, by the way. Sorry, exhale all the breath out. Then inhale, belly, side ribs, upper chest. Exhale, upper chest, side ribs, and belly. Inhale, belly, side ribs, upper chest. Exhale, upper chest, side ribs, and belly. Last time. Inhale, belly, side ribs, upper chest. Exhale, upper chest, side ribs, and belly. Good. So then just breathe normally. But what we're going to do throughout the practice is I'm going to remind you of that breath. And we're going to practice it in various different places along the way. And we'll also add on a mantra as we go, which is just a short word or phrase that helps keep our mind focused. Okay, enough sitting. Just lean back, stretch your legs out, move them a little bit. And we're going to come on to all fours and move your support out the way, maybe to the front of the mat. Keep your blocks sort of handy towards the front, maybe over towards the left side. And then come on to all fours. That means we're going to spread the fingers. We're going to have the fingers, the wrists directly under the shoulders and the knees directly under the hips. So your hands are shoulder width apart, your knees are hip width apart, and you're in what's called tabletop, which means you're not allowing the front ribs to drop or the belly to drop. You push the floor away, lift the belly up softly, lift the ribs up softly, and extend the crown of the head forward. So you're not lifting or dropping the head. And this is a neutral spine, tabletop. Now from here, you're going to create a little bit of an arch in the back. So you scoot the heart forward, lift the tailbone, lift the eye gaze a little without yanking your head back, and just feel the back arch a little bit. This is called cow pose. And then we're going to do the opposite into cat pose. Curl the back. Now at the end of the exhale, pull the belly up quite strongly. So you're kind of in a way hollowing it out. Drop the head towards the floor. You can have, and then then inhale, scoot the heart forward. You can have your feet, either the backs of the feet or toes. It's up to you. And as you exhale, curl the back. Press the floor away, round into the upper back. And last time, inhale from the belly to the heart, to the throat, open up. Exhale, round, drop the tailbone, drop the head, pull the belly up. Good job. Inhale back to a neutral spine. Press out through the ball of the right foot and just open out through the back of the right leg. So your left knee stays underneath your left hip. Now, take a big breath in. And as you exhale, stretch down the back of the thigh, the back of the knee, the back of the calf into the Achilles tendon without overstretching. And then change to the other side. Press out through the ball of the left foot. Keep the belly lifted, keep the front ribs lifted. And then exhale and press out through the heel. Follow the stretch down the back of the thigh, the back of the knee, the back of the half into the heel. Good. Take both knees down, coming into an extended child's pose. So big toes together, widen the knees apart. Press sit bones to heels and reach your fingertips forward. If you can, you drop your chest and your head down, forehead down. If this isn't going to work for you, obviously you can stay up a little higher. Now, a lot of this will depend on your quads. So don't get upset if you can't get your sit bones to your heels. Learn to just accept your body as it is. And remember, everything we're doing is making it is a positive action. So we let go of the past. We stay in the present. Come into this pose and breathe deeply. So again, try and do that deep breath from the belly through the ribs to the upper chest, and exhale, soften all the way down and let your body just move naturally as you breathe. Good. And then come back up to all fours. Knees move in under hips. You're going to move your hands forward. So left hand to the top left corner of the mat, right hand to the right, top right corner of the mat. Spread the fingers, and then keeping your hips over your knees, so you're not pushing your hips back this time. You're just going to take your forehead to the floor. So you're getting a bit more of a shoulder opener. Now the shoulders may want to kind of come in towards your neck. So actively move them away towards the outside edges of the mat. Keep the belly lifted, keep the front ribs lifted so you're not collapsing here. Take another deep breath, opening the shoulders. And then make your way back up to tabletop. This time, take your hands a little bit further forward than your shoulders. We're coming into downward dog. Now, downward dog is the same as we just did, more or less, but with the knees off the mat. So it's much stronger. If it's too strong, come back to your puppy pose. You can always come back to puppy pose at any time, or come all the way up downward dog. So with downward dog, tuck the toes, engage the belly, lift the shins off the mat, tilt the tailbone up, press the chest to the thighs, drop the head, and move your feet a little bit wider apart. Keep the knees bent, stay on your tiptoes, or stay on the balls of the feet, not your tiptoes, the balls of your feet, and focus on pressing the chest to the thighs, keeping the back of the neck long, so your eye gaze is kind of towards your navel, and then try and, again, move the shoulders away from the ears, so you're broadening across the base of the neck. Stay there for another breath if you can. Keep pushing the floor forward. It's as if you're trying to stretch the mat forward away from you. And then come and have a little rest. Take your knees down, big toes together, widen the knees. This time, maybe move your hands back, stack one on top of the other, and rest your forehead on the back of your hands. Or you can make fists, or you'll maybe up here a little bit higher. So just find somewhere that is comfortable for you, where you can come back to that deep breath we did at the beginning. Well done. And then let's come back up to all fours. So just take your hands forward under your shoulders, move your knees in under your hips, back to tabletop. From tabletop, step your right foot forward in between your hands. So we're coming into a lunge. I shall turn this way. You just carry on facing me. So the knee is going to be directly over the ankle. Okay, the front knee is directly over the ankle, and then you take your hands to your hips, push into your front foot to come up. Try not to let the hip swing out to the right. Just keep that outer right hip moving in, so the thigh is parallel to the floor. Draw your elbows back, lift your heart, and zip up from the lower belly. So you're widening across the collarbone. If that goes well, reach your arms forward and up. Low lunge. Good. And then hands down. Take your right foot back. So you're back into a tabletop. And then you're going to just shift your weight forward so that the hips are no longer over the knees. They're forward of the knees, but your shoulders are directly over your hands. And you're in a half plank pose. Round into your lower back, look forward, keep the collarbone wide. Stay here for another breath. So you're warming up the wrists, warming up the shoulders, engaging the belly, rounding the lower back so that there's no butt sticking up. So you're engaging your core. And then elbows go straight back. If you can, take the elbows straight back and come all the way down to your belly. If it's too much, you can, of course, let the elbows go out to the side or however you need to come down, but you'll get there eventually. Now, really untuck the toes, press the tops of the feet into the floor so the soles of the feet are facing the ceiling. Now, your shoulders are kind of naturally dropped towards the floor. Take them away from the floor and take your elbows into your waist. So your upper arms alongside the outside of your ribs. And then press your feet firmly into the floor. And as you inhale, just lift your chest and head into a baby back bend without letting the elbows go out or the shoulders come up. Just come up a little way, and more important is to keep your elbows in. And exhale, ripple down. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, just gently lift your head and heart. Exhale, ripple down. And last time, inhale, lift up. Elbows in, outer shoulders back. Exhale down. Good. And then take a big push over your knees. Big toes together. Widen the knees apart. Press back to an extended child's pose with your arms straight. Take a deep breath in here. Full inhale, complete exhale. And then on your next inhale, come back up to tabletop. Move your knees in under your shoulder, under your hips, under your shoulders. Knees under hips, tabletop, look forward, collarbone wide. Step the left foot forward for your low lunge. So you can let the hips drop a little bit. You might feel a bit more of a stretch in that right inner thigh. But then you're going to take your hands to your hips and move the hips back. So your front knee is directly over the ankle and the front foot faces forward. That means the shin is vertical. And you're trying not to let the knee drop in or out. Squeeze your elbows towards each other, towards your spine. Lift up from the lower belly. So you zip up from the lower belly all the way to the heart. Squeeze your shoulders, your elbows towards each other. And if that goes well, you can reach the arms up. Otherwise, just keep your hands to your hips is fine. Okay, so this is all just adding on. Lift your eye gaze a little if you wish to, and then hands down. Take that left foot back. Take the hips forward so the shoulders are direct, but the shoulders stay directly over the wrist. You're in half plank, half push up. Round into the lower back by lifting your belly button up and in. Imagine you're drawing your belly button up towards your ribs. Keep your eye gaze forward and your collarbone wide, and elbows bend straight back to lower you to the mat. Untuck the toes if you haven't already. Shoulders lift away from the floor, elbows go in towards the waist. Press the feet down. Try and spread the toes, even though, imagine you can get all 10 toenails on the floor. And then inhale, those little baby back bends, 3 of them. Lift the head and heart, exhale, Soften down, keeping the shoulders away from the floor. Inhale, lift, elbows in. Exhale, ripple back down. Last one, inhale, ripple up. And exhale, ripple all the way back down. Good. And then big push back over the knees, big toes together, knees apart. Take it back to a child's pose. This time, relax your arms. Maybe make your little stack with your hands or fists. Come back to your breath. Now we're going to just add on a mantra to the breath. A mantra is just a short word or phrase which we use to help us stay focused, so that you may find even when you're just breathing, your mind is wandering off. So the mantra we're going to use on the inhale, and I'll say it out loud, you just listen for the first, and then you'll also say it internally. So you're not going to say it out loud. You say to yourself, or else on the inhale, I am as. On the exhale, I am now. So you inhale, I am as. Exhale, I am now. Inhale, I am as. Exhale, I am now. Good. Good. And then come up onto all fours. Now, if you've been doing that properly, you wouldn't have noticed my little dog coming and and disturbing me. Anyhow, she's gone. There's just the big one left. Okay, so coming back to all fours. Now, tuck the toes. We're going to come back to downward dog. So take the hands a little further forward of your shoulders. Tilt the hips up. So in downward dog, you want the sit bones, which are those bony bits in your butt. We all have them, so they are there somewhere. Tilt the sit bones up and keep that tilt up as you come into your upside down V shape, which is what basically we're trying to achieve. So the hips tilt up, the head drops down, the hands press forward, and the shoulders roll away from the ears. Now, keeping your knees bent to start with, and then just start to, keeping the left knee bent, drop the right heel slowly towards the floor. So you're getting a big stretch on that right side now. It may not reach, it probably won't, especially if you're new. That's okay, just energize it towards the floor. And then bend the right knee a lot and slowly straighten the left heel or the left leg, so the left heel drops towards the floor. And then you can do this once or twice, pedaling your feet. Good. Good. And then do your best to drop both heels down towards the floor. It doesn't matter if they don't reach. You don't make the stride too short. So don't kind of move in like this just to get your heels down. Better to keep the knees a little bit bent and your chest back and the heels off. And then walk your hands back to your feet. So your heels will start to reach the floor if they haven't already. Try to keep your feet parallel to each other, forward facing, and then just drop the head down. So drape yourself over your thighs. Try to have the whole of your upper body touching your thighs if you can. So you're going to need to bend the knees for this. And then release the back of the neck. Maybe move your head a little bit, side to side, very gently. Take your hands now to your hips. Lift the elbows towards the ceiling. So that takes the shoulders back again, away from the floor. Start to come up to stand, but come up to stand through a flat back. So scoop the heart forward, keep the knees bent, scoop the heart forward, and then press into your feet to come all the way up to stand. Good job. Okay, and then you're standing now at the back of your mat. I'm going to come to the middle of the mat so that you can see me better, but you're going to stay at the back of the mat, facing the front of the mat, with your feet hip width apart. So feet are, when I say hip width, I don't mean this wide, okay? Nobody's got hips that big anyhow, but hip width really means the sit bones are in line with the heels. So the heels and the sit bones are equal distance apart, and both feet face forward. So notice if your feet have a habit of turning out, Try to have them facing forward as best you can. Then press the balls of the feet down, lift the toes and spread the toes. Again, some of you can spread better than others. I can't spread very well. And then allow the toes to move back to the mat. So now press your feet into the mat as if you're trying to make footprints in like soft concrete or something, as if you're trying to make your footprints in the walk of fame, but you're not allowed to force your foot down. So push down with energy, energetically press down. And as you do that, you'll feel your legs engage because the energy lifts back up. So push down to lift up. That's another major key to yoga or life, really. Press down, take your hands to your heart. And then inhale, reach your arms up. So going to get a little bit more action now. Let your fingers touch. And as you exhale, swan dive forward. Now you're going to need to bend the knees as you swan dive forward. Then take your hands to the mat, drop the head and look towards your heart, knees bent, but shoulders lift away from the floor. And then inhale into a flat back, upside down L shape. So you can have I'll turn this way. You can have your fingertips to your shins, lengthen the spine. So really feel as if your heart, the sternum is going forward. As your sternum reaches forward, reach the crown of the head. So don't lift the head too much. Try and lengthen the back of the neck and imagine that your tailbone can go to the back of the mat. So you're going in two directions at once. Your forward body's moving forward and your back body's moving back, if you like a bicycle chain of energy. And you can keep your fingers on your shins or even higher. Just feel the belly lifting a little so you're not sagging. Get long in the spine, open, wide open collarbone, and then bend the knees and fold. Take your hands to the floor, drop the head. Coming back up to stand, you can either take your hands to your hips, lift the elbows, come up the same way, or if you're feeling strong, reach your arms out and reverse the swan dive to come up. Again, you're coming up with a nice long spine. Let your hands touch if you can, and exhale, hands to heart. Good. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Press your feet down, swan dive forward, bend the knees so you're not pulling, and take your hands down, drop the head, look towards your heart, knees bent. Inhale, flat back, fingertips to shins or higher, long spine. Exhale, bend the knees and fold, take your hands down, drop the head, look towards your heart, and then inhale, reach your arms out or hands to hips. Scoot the heart forward, coming up with a flat back. Offer up your efforts and exhale, hands to heart. Well done. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Now, you're going to take, you can't see because it's out of the picture, your right wrist with your left hand, not even the wrist, underneath the wrist. So not the bony bit. And then pull up, pull up, pull up. Imagine that this whole right side body can get so long, and then hinge to the left without collapsing forward. So go up and over. Imagine you're between two planes of glass. Inhale, go up. Now you're going to swan dive forward. Arms out, reach yourself, reach your heart forward, come all the way down, bend the knees. Inhale, flat back, long spine. Exhale, bend the knees and fold, look to the heart. Inhale, hands to hips or arms out to the side, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Good. Inhale, arms out and up. Left forearm, reach up, up, pull up. So remember, it's underneath the bony bit, not on the wrist. Pull up as if you're pulling up from the outside edge of the left hip. Get really tall in the side body. You can let your shoulders come up as well. Get such a good stretch. And then hinge to the right. Press the sit bones forward or the pelvis forward so you're not letting your butt stick out. Go a little further if you can. Good, good side stretch. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive all the way down. Forward fold. Inhale, flat back, long spine. Exhale, fold, hands to the mat. And then let's come up once again. Inhale, reach arms out and up. And exhale, hands to heart. Good. So that's a little, we call that movement vinyasa. So that was a little standing vinyasa. You might be feeling a little warmer now. And we're going to start to move a little bit more. Okay, come, so you're at the front of your mat. So I'm coming to the front of my mat now. Keep your feet hip width apart. Press your feet down, engage the legs. Reach your arms forward and up as you inhale. And then hands together as you fold forward, bend the knees as much as you need to, hands to the floor, drop the head. Notice if your shoulders are hanging forward, try and shrug them back away from the floor. And then inhale into your flat back. So we just did this. Fingertips to shins. Exhale, fold, bend the knees, both hands down. Step your left foot to the back of the mat. Take your left knee down and reach arms forward and up or hands to hips for low lunge. So we're back in a low lunge. Okay. Now from the low lunge, take both hands to the mat. If your knee is a little bit sore, then you might need to pad it up. We're going to do a little bit more of a hamstring stretch. Your blocks might come in handy here. Slide the right foot forward and come onto the heel. So your toes are facing the ceiling. Your left hip is directly over the left knee. And then you dig the right heel into the floor as if you were pushing it, like I said before, as if you're pushing it down into soft concrete. As you push it down, sort of isometrically, that means without moving, pull the energy back up the leg. So it's as if I'm trying to draw the heel back, but it's not moving. And you'll feel your hamstring engage, start to stretch. Sorry. Now to add on to that, you try and scoot the heart forward and send the sit bones back, because that's then stretching, getting more of a stretch on the hamstring. I'll turn this way so you can see it from this side. If that's a little too much, then just sort of stay a little more soft in your back. So the strongest stretch is by scooping the heart forward and sending the sit bones back, digging the heel in and pulling it back towards your hamstring. If you don't have blocks, you can just be down here. But what I really don't want is the backs to round. So blocks really helps that. Okay, then flatten the right foot to the mat. Move your blocks away and lift the back knee up. So now you're in a long lunge and push back if you can to downward dog. Now, if that all sounds like it's just too much, keep your back knee down and come back to a child's pose and have a rest in child's pose. So this is always an option. So if pushing back to down dog sounds like a big deal, which it is, I mean, there's nothing easy about this, don't do it, come to child's pose. Otherwise, big push back, come back to downward dog. Okay. Now, from downward dog, you're going to come forward into plank pose. That means the top of a push-up. Now, if you're in child's pose, you might just want to come back up to half push-up, half plank. So knees off is much harder than knees down with every pose. So if you're strong and you're feeling strong, come into the full plank. Engage the legs, look forward, keep your collarbone wide. Take another breath here, and then knees down if they're up, elbows back, flatten the feet, come all the way down, forehead to mat. And then a little cobra, just one. Press your feet down, spread the toes. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, push back. Again, you can either push back to a child's pose or you come all the way back up to downward dog. For your practice, not mine, so you decide. Good. And then we're going to make our way to the front of the mat. So the best way to do this is to bend the knees, keep the hips high, look forward to the front of the mat. Now you can either step, lots of little steps, or take one big step or jump, come forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, flat back once again. Exhale, fold. And inhale, reach your arms forward and up. And exhale, hands to heart. Well done. And let's do the other side. So you're at the front of your mat. Inhale, your arms forward and up, big breath. Exhale, fold forward into the forward fold. Bend the knees as much as you need to, look towards your heart. Inhale, straighten the legs, come into your flat back. Exhale, bend the knees, fold, get both hands down. Step all the way back with your right foot. Take your right knee to the mat. Flatten the foot if you can. You can stay on toes if you want to. And either hands to hips to come up or reach your arms forward and up. Good. So you're in the same low lunge we did before. And then you're going to take both hands down. Take your blocks if you're using them. And start to slide the left heel forward, come onto the heel of the left foot. Okay, I'm going to turn around this way once again. So the heel of the left foot is pressing down. Then you pull back as if you're trying to pull the heel back towards your sit bones. And at the same time as you do that, you scoot the heart forward and send the sit bones back. And you'll feel a good stretch down the back of that leg. Keep the belly lifted a little, keep the collarbone wide, try not to collapse and fold forward. Good. And then left foot down, take your blocks forward. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Again, you're either going to give a big push back to downward dog, or you're going to keep the back knee down and come back to child's pose. So if you're coming back to downward dog, big push back. Keep the hips high. Take another breath here. And then inhale forward into plank. Again, knees can be up or down. If you're coming from child's pose, keep the knees down. And then everybody take the knees down. Round into your lower back. Elbows go straight back as you lower to the mat. Untuck the toes, spread the toes, elbows in, shoulders lift. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, push back. Either child's pose or downward dog once again. Good. And then everybody just take a little rest in child's pose. Knees down, big toes together. Hands can come back and come back to your I am as I am now. So the inhale, and you can kind of draw it from the belly through the ribs to the collarbone. I am as. Exhale, collarbone, ribs, belly. I am now. Say that silently to yourself as you breathe in and breathe out. Knowing that you can come to this breath and this mantra at any time of your day. And it will really help, especially when we're practicing this idea of really taking thoughts captive, not allowing negative thoughts to become a dialogue in our minds. Like one thought comes and then the next one, then the next one. We're not going there, okay? So using the I am as I am now and matching it to your breath really can help you come back to that center, come back to that truth of I am as I am now, rather than letting the sort of circumstances dictate to us something else. And we lose sight of our identity as I am. Okay, come back up to all fours. Tap the toes, take it back, downward dog. So we use downward dog a lot. It becomes a restful pose after some time. Like, thank goodness we're going to be living a long time, because some of us it may take 50 years. No, won't be that long. And then look to the front of the mat, keep the hips high, bend the knees, step or jump forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Reach arms forward as you inhale. Come all the way up and exhale, hands to heart. Well done. Okay. So if that's enough for you today, then just stop there. You can stop there. You can just lie down and have a little rest and finish that, because I know there's various different people looking in on this. So if you want to just stop me and rest, lie down, as I said, in Shavasana. If you want to keep going a little bit more, we shall move into some more standing poses, and starting off by coming into chair pose, or awkward pose, it's also called for a very good reason. Take your feet together, inner thighs and knees together, reach your arms forward, and then sit back as if you're sitting into one of those little kiddie chairs. And if you're a mum, then you probably had to do that at some point, or on one of those little loos. So your knees are back over your ankles, and your butt is dropping, but your upper body's lifting, as if you're being lifted up and dropping down at the same time. And I can see why it's called awkward pose. Take another breath here, big breath, and fold all the way down. Straighten the legs. Inhale, flat back. Well done. Exhale, hands down. Step the left foot back. Same thing we did before, but this time we're going into a high lunge. So back knee stays off. So of course it's that much more challenging. Move your right foot. I'll turn this way again so you can see better. Take your right foot to the right. Now this will help you, rather than having your feet in line, like on a tightrope. Take your right foot to the right. Take your hands to your hips. Lift the back thigh high and engage the belly. Elbows towards the ceiling, and then come up and probably fall over. It is a balance, so obviously it's challenging. The attempt is to get that back thigh lifted and straight, and the heel of the back foot over the toes, with the front knee over the front ankle, which is also, and that is really quite a challenge. So if you can't quite get there today, that's fine. Hands to hips, elbows in. Just try to make sure your knee is not further forward than the ankle. And then you can stay with your hands to hips or reach your arms up. Then you lift your eye gaze a little and you're in crescent lunge. Well done. Take another breath. Hands back to hips, elbows in. Squeeze your elbows towards each other. Squeeze your upper arms towards each other. Take another breath and hinge forward, hands to the mat. Push back, downward dog, or knee down, child's pose. Well done. Good. Take another breath here in downward dog. Inhale forward into plank. You can stay in child's pose if you want to rest, or you flow through vinyasa. Inhale forward into plank, knees down, elbows back, all the way to the mat. Untuck the toes. Inhale, cobra, and push back, down dog. So you can be resting in child's pose that whole time, or you come with me through a vinyasa. Come back up to downward dog if you're resting. Look to the front of the mat, bend the knees, hips high, step or jump forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale and fold. Coming back through that little chair pose, so feet together, sweep your arms forward, sit back into your heels as you exhale, and then rise up. Inhale, open up, and exhale, hands to heart. Stand and breathe. Now, can you come back to the I am as I am now? Can you come back to that breath here? And just start to get into the practice of letting go of any thought, letting go of any judgment, letting go of any analysis. Just come back to the breath. Well done. And then we'll move to the other side. Feet together. Reach your arms forward. Inhale. Exhale. Sit back into your heels. Drop a little lower. Take another deep breath in. Exhale. Fold. Uttanasana. Inhale. Flat back. Scoot the heart forward. Lengthen the back of the neck. Exhale, fold. Right foot back, high lunge. Move the left foot to the left. Lift the back thigh, hands to hips, elbows back. Press into the front foot to come up. Use the rebound energy. Move the back foot back if you can. Left foot moves to the left. Keep the back thigh lifted and reach arms forward and up. So you're challenging your legs, you're challenging your balance, and you're challenging your mind. Good. Hands to hips, elbows in. Look forward, lift your eye gaze a little bit if you can. Zip up from the lower belly and hands down. Well done. Either take the back knee down and rest in child's pose, or take it back, downward dog. If you're in down dog, you might want to flow. Inhale, forward plank. Exhale, knees down, elbows back, all the way to the belly. Untuck the toes. Inhale, cobra. And push back, downward dog. Good job. Take another breath here. Then bend the knees, look forward, step or jump forward. Inhale, flat back, fingertips to shins. Exhale, fold. Drop the head, feet together if they're apart. Reach arms forward as you inhale. Sit back into your heels as you exhale. And rise. Inhale, arms out, offer your heart, offer your efforts. Exhale, hands to heart. Well done. Okay, let's just stand and breathe again. Maybe move your feet a little bit apart. It's kind of more steady that way. Feel the balance between the right side and the left side. Press your feet down to lift your leg, lift the energy up. And then come back to your I am as I am now. Inhale and exhale. Mind focused on the breath and on the body. And then take your hands to your, reach your arms forward, Hinge forward from the hips all the way down to the floor as you exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bend the knees, hands down. Take your left foot back. So you're back in that sort of runner's lunge. Walk your hands around to the left. Now, if you have tight hamstrings, take your blocks with you. Walk your hands around to the left and parallel your feet. So you want both feet, I'll move my blocks out of the way for the moment. The short edge of the foot parallel to the short edge, the side of the foot parallel to the short edge of the mat. And then fingertip your fingers forward underneath your shoulders. So if your hamstrings are tight, you'll need to be up on your blocks. Okay, so what we're trying to do here is, again, get a long spine. We're trying not to round into the shoulders or the collarbone. So scoot the heart forward, lift the quadricep muscles up and press the thighs back. If that feels too much, or if you don't have blocks and you're really struggling to reach the floor, take a little bend in the knees here. So it's better to take a little bend in the knees and be able to widen the collarbone than to have your legs straight and rounding. That's why blocks come in very handy. Good. Wide leg forward fold. I'll turn this way so you can see a little bit better the back. You're trying not to lift the upper back up. You're scooping the heart forward. So actually the shoulder blades are moving in towards the spine, not away from the spine. Anyway, just do your best. Lift your quadricep muscles up. That will help you release the hamstrings. If this is really easy for you, you're on fingertips and you're like, you know you can go further, then just fold forward without letting the shoulder blades separate or without letting the collarbone narrow, collapse. So your folding forward is still with a wide open collarbone. Try and get used to that idea. And then you can just drop your head and allow the back of the neck to lengthen. Maybe just do that one more time. Inhale forward, fingertips or blocks, scoot the heart forward. And as you exhale, fold forward, heart heads towards the floor, then the head heads down. Good. And then come onto fingertips. Take a little bend in the knees, hands to hips, come all the way up. So you're not actually facing me, are you? You're facing the left side of the mat. Now you're going to turn your right toes towards the front of the mat and bend the right knee. So the front leg is like in that high lunge we just did, but the back leg is you just kick the left heel out a little bit and you make sure that the heel of the front foot is in line with the instep of the back foot. So now my back foot is my left foot is too far to the left side. I need to just take it in a little further to the midline. And then the heel is in line with the instep. So we're opening the hips now, aren't we? Where before our hips were, the left hip was facing the same way as the right hip. Now the left hip is moving away from the right hip and the left shoulder is moving away from the right shoulder. So we're opening the body out towards the side of the mat. But the front knee stays facing forward. You don't want that knee to collapse in. So you need to engage the inner thigh to keep it pressing towards the little toe side. You can reach your arms out. You're in warrior two. You can turn your head and look at me over your right fingers. Keep your belly engaged a little, so you're not kind of just letting it hang. Soften the shoulders down. You're in warrior two. Bend the front knee a little more if you can, and smile. Good job. And keep that left hand to left hip. Turn the palm of the right hand up. Reach up and go over for a reverse warrior. And reach your fingertips, really sharpen that right arm. Don't let the elbow bend too much. Lengthen, 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 look towards your back foot. I know this is challenging. Reach your right arm out, coming back to warrior two. Take your hands to your hips, turn your feet back, straighten the front leg. You're back in that wide leg straddle. If you need to shake your legs a bit, do a little shake. And hinge forward from the hips. Take your hands under your shoulders. Inhale, scoot the heart forward. And exhale, you're going to walk your hands back to the front of the mat. As you go, spin your feet so you're back in that runner's lunge. And then either take the back knee down and have a rest in child's pose. Or, you know where we're going, you can push back to downward dog. Good. If you're in downward dog and you want to flow, inhale, forward plank. Exhale, knees down, elbows back. Oops, move everything out the way. Lift the elbows, lift the shoulders away from the floor. Inhale, cobra. And exhale back, downward dog. Well done. Little bend in the knees, step or jump forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Take your hands, keep your hands down. Step your right foot back. So you're back in the runner's lunge. Right foot is at the back of the mat. And walk your hands around, away from the front foot. So walk your hands around to the right. Turn your feet parallel. Now you're in a wide leg straddle facing the right side of the mat. Okay, hopefully. And inhale, scoot the heart forward. Exhale and fold. Hands to hips, elbows lift, bend the knees, scoot the heart forward and come all the way up. Well done. And then warrior two and reverse warrior on this side. So left toes turn towards the front end of the mat, bend the left knee, make sure your right heel, your right instep and left heel are in line with each other, and take the right heel out. Draw the right shoulder back And try and lift the left hip a little so you're not hinging forward over that left thigh. So pelvis stays more or less level as best you can, and reach your arms. Soften your shoulders, turn to face me, engage the belly a little bit. And then right hand to right hip, palm of the left hand turns up, reach up and go over. Keep that left shoulder and left elbow back. Try not to let it roll forward. Reach through that left arm like it's a sword. So the ribs are separating on that left side, and it's a strong energy right the way through the left fingertips. And back to warrior two. Reach your arms, turn your head, and hands to hips. Parallel your feet. So we're back in the straddle, shake your legs out a little, do a little wriggle, and hinge forward from the hips, hands down. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, walk your hands around to the front foot. Turn to face the front of your mat on the ball of the right foot. Right knee can come down for child's pose or push back for downward dog. And flow. Inhale into plank. Exhale, knees down, elbows back, all the way to your belly. Untuck the toes. Inhale, cobra. And let's all exhale back to child's pose. Good job. Okay, hands under forehead. Or you can always take your knees together now and reach your arms back. And you can take the top of the hands, the back of the hands that is, down onto the floor outside of your ankles. And just let the shoulders drop over the knees. So almost like your right shoulder is going around the outside of your right knee and the left shoulder is dropping towards the outside of your left knee. Come back to your I am as I am now. So inhale, I am as. Exhale, I am now. Well done. And then come to sit on your heels. Come all the way up. Sometimes this can also be not so easy. Again, if that's the case and you're struggling to sit on your heels, a little bit of height under your butt. So you can take your blocks if you have them, place one on top of the other. Try not to kind of collapse and sit on those. Or you can sit on your towels, or you just sit on your heels. It's a quad stretch. So that's why if your quads are tight, you're going to struggle with that. And then just swing round and twist towards your right. So you're just going to take your left hand over the outside of the right knee. I'll turn this way. And your right hand behind you. And lift up as you turn. So try not to round, okay? Lift up, keep your collarbone wide, shoulder tips back. Just turn on the axis of the spine. And then just twist the other way. Do that once again. Twist to the right. And twist to the left. Come back to center. Take your legs out. Remove your blocks if you've been using them. And come to lie down on your back. So obviously, you're going to find it a little bit harder to see me now, unless you've got your screen on the ceiling. But do your best. You might need to have a look now and again. We're going to just do a couple of bridge pose. So make sure that your feet, you might need to just look at your feet. Check your feet are parallel to the long edge of the mat. You don't want the toes turning out. So make sure your feet are parallel to the long edge of the mat. And your heels are more or less in line with your sit bones. And you can just about scrape the back of your heels with your fingertips. Now you're going to take your arms in and into, so that your upper arms are basically touching your ribs. And then you press your arms down into the mat but you bend the elbows and lift your fingertips towards the ceiling with your elbows and upper arms down. And then you press your arms down. As you press your arms down, you'll feel your heart sort of lift a little. And then press your feet down, roll into your lower back and start to lift the hips up. And you're in bridge. So pressing your feet down, engaging the hamstrings, gauging the lower glutes, pressing the arms down and taking the sternum back towards your chin is going to all create more of that heart opener that we're looking for. Take another breath here. Don't let the knees swing out to the side. Imagine you're squeezing a block between your thighs. And then gently roll down. Take your hands down, back of the hands. Take your knees, knock your knees together and take your feet the width of the mat. So your knees are knocking in and you just take a breath or two here. So resist the temptation to hug your knees to your chest because we're going for one more bridge pose. We'll hug our knees in at the end. Take another breath here. And then once again, set yourself up for bridge. Move your feet in so they're in line with your sit bones and are parallel to the long edge of the mat. Keep your upper arms pressing down on the outside of your ribs. Take your fingertips towards the ceiling. Push your arms down, push your feet down. Roll into your lower back, let the hips come up. Push down a little harder. Draw the sternum back towards your chin. For those of you who can, you wriggle your shoulders under and you interlock your hands underneath your sacrum, underneath your butt. But if that's too much, just stay where you are. Don't let the knees drop out to the side. Engage the inner thighs. Lift a little higher, higher, higher. And release down. Take your shoulders out. Release your hands out. Slowly lower down. And then this time you can hug your right knee to your chest, give a big squeeze, place the right foot down, hug your left knee to your chest, another big squeeze. Keep your left knee hugging in, hug your right knee in. And then big circles with your knees. So as if you're massaging your lower back and sacrum. So make the circles big one way and then the other way. Good. And then big hug in. And then we're going to just move into a little spinal twist. So place your feet flat on the mat, knees bent, both your inner ankles, inner thighs together. Reach your arms out at shoulder height. So I'm a little stuck with my door, but imagine both arms reach out like you're in a cross. And then you're just going to let the knees together drop to the left. Keep your right shoulder down and turn your head to the right. So you're really just getting a bit of a stretch from your right armpit all the way on the outside of the right ribs, the outside of the right hips, the outside of the right thigh to the right knee. And your spine is in a little twist. And then breathe into your rib cage, a big, wide, nurturing breath. So focus your breath to your ribs. Soften the face, soften the jaw. And then inhale your knees to center. And just change to the other side. So take your knees to the right. Keep your left shoulder pressing down. Turn your head to the left, if it's okay with your neck. Otherwise, you can just stay with your face facing upwards, but with your eyes closed. Breathe into the rib cage, target and focus the breath, widening the ribs. Softening the face. Well done. Inhale back to center. And then we're going to come into what could be the most important pose of all. And that is resting pose. So make sure your head is at the top of your mat. Take your heels towards the corners of the lower end of your mat. Let the feet flop out. So sometimes it's not a bad idea to roll the feet, the big toes towards each other and away from each other a couple of times. And then just let the feet flop out. Try and make sure your spine is long on the mat. So you're not letting your head drop to one side or the other. So feel the back of the neck long. And then allow your hands to come out by the sides with the palms facing up, and the fingers curl very slightly, naturally. And then again, take a big breath in through the nose. Keep breathing in, in. Really fill the whole body with breath. At the top of the inhale, just hold it for a moment. And then open your mouth and exhale with a sigh all the way down. Do that once again. Big breath in, in. Fill the whole body with breath. Hold it at the top of the inhale. And then open your mouth, exhale all the breath out. And then just let everything relax now. So soften the face, soften the jaw, let the jaw relax. So that lower jaw hangs a little bit. Feel the back of the body really heavy. So imagine that your body is sinking through the floor, like you're going into the void now. Your energy is all gone, has left the body, and now you're just sinking, becoming one with the floor, moving through the floor. The breath is very soft. Just take this time now to fully relax, enjoy the void in Shavasana. So you can stay here if you want to. You don't need to come up if you're okay. You just stay resting. Otherwise, if you need to get moving, just start to move your fingers and toes. Reach your arms behind you. Give yourself a nice big stretch. Hug your knees to your chest. Give your body a big vote of thanks for, doing the best for you every single day. And then feet to the floor, roll to your right side, all the way over onto your right side as if you're curled up in bed. And you can make a pillow with your right arm. Take another moment here. Notice if your mind has gone racing off, just practice drawing it back. And then use your hands to help you come up. Press your left hand down, press your right hand down. Come to sit facing the front, legs crossed, hands to heart in prayer. Again, just allowing your heart, which you've created a lot of space for now, to really expand with gratitude, with appreciation for your body, with appreciation for your breath, with appreciation for this whole I am as I am now revelation that is just going to see you moving from glory to glory. Thank you for joining me today. Amen. Okay, so thank you for supporting me with this spirit flow, and I shall be posting or advertising another Zoom practice soon. I hope you can join me live for that. I'll see you next time. Bye.